Come in. Man, great times. Ah! You looking for these? That's what killed. That's all. Just those two. That's it. Oh. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Spook Theater, where I will be your host, King, spooking you, Boo King, Book King for the record, and printing into the ether your emotional outbursts to my vocation, your reactions, confessions. It's mathematically the reality. Isn't that nuts for you? We like nuts around here, don't we, people? Some people think I'm criminally insane. I think they're literally illiterate when I speak and express myself literally. What we're experiencing here is a failure in communication. Can you believe that? Some people think that I don't think, and I think that most people repeat rather than think for themselves. You can fool some people some of the time, Klaus Schwab, but you can't fool all the people all the time, Mr. Klaus Schwab. And this message wasn't financed by fucking Pfizer, Mr. Klaus Schwab. I got something to swab you with. You know, truth about reality. Isn't that amazing? Hey, you guys, the reality is your mainstream media is mostly sponsored by Pfizer, right? Say it with me. Pfizer. Pfizer. Now a trailer I made for you about 4 years ago. Dogs don't talk to dragons. It's the darndest thing. Turns out dragons actually know what they're talking about. It's pretty wild. Just so I can show you, I've been figuring this out in an analog manner for longer than most of you have been alive. So, in regards to your emotional state right now, I don't give a fuck. It doesn't matter. It doesn't pay the bills. It doesn't put food on the table. It doesn't feed my children. It doesn't actually do anything at all. It's quite amazing. Then we had a fucktard in here telling me yesterday that I had to listen to them because of a piece of paper, right? Papers. I got me a certification, a degree. So that makes me an intellectually superior nigger. Is that the attitude of all you fucktards? I'm smarter than you because I have this degree and this piece of paper. And I have a license to speak, so I'm better than you. Do you all have this fucking attitude of superiority because of your degrees of certification? Then you preach messages of equality. There's no equality in your speech patterns. It's fucking amazing. You know, the most profound thing a person can do is act like you didn't figure out anything at all. I didn't figure out anything. I'm a stupid fucktard according to the majority of you, and I'm the minority of one against many. It's a mess, folks. Quite the fucking mess, isn't it? And I don't know who needs a spanking, but somebody needs a fucking spanking. Yesterday. Someone needs a beat down. Yesterday. Right now. Not tomorrow. Today. I had a great conversation with some people from the Teddy Shuttlesworth crew, some sort of 501c3 corporate preacher priest. advertising for people to come down and listen to his ministry or gospel. And he was offering people free stuff just to listen. He's trying to bribe or purchase his listeners in some sort of reverse engineering scam. You know, it's wild. You know, you can buy your listeners just as well as buy your voter. Might cost you a donut, might cost you a hot dog. Influencing opinions from one side of the issue to another, it can be done very cheaply, turns out. Isn't that amazing? You could buy a vote for a doobie. That's pretty cheap. We learn through experience that people can be bought for cheaps. And this church was saying, we're just trying to get people to come on down and listen. And I said, there's no such thing as free. No such thing as free. No such thing as free. That's crazy talk. No such thing as a free lunch. Thinking there's a free lunch makes you lunch. I said the church gives out bioengineered food that causes obesity, diabetes, and cancer within the congregations that they care about so much. They didn't know how to respond to that. It's almost like they never thought about it before. Or maybe they never noticed. They weren't paying attention. Maybe that's it. Right? They weren't paying attention. It's the only logical explanation. Was anybody paying attention? It was like I the only one that was paying attention. Was I paying attention where everybody else was fucking sleeping? Simple yes or no will suffice. But these people can't answer any questions. What's up with that? You're strange. Strange, isn't it? This isn't a specifically brown boat, beat down people. I can, badly. But isn't it ironic when you just poof, you just blunt? You don't have a response for it. They cry about transparency, but apparently there's no transparency in this country. I just wanted to see if we were all on the same page. You know? Amazing, isn't it? Can't sell you this stuff. It's too goddamn crazy. Not competing with you. Being very choice with my language. I hope you realize that. My language is designed to confuse both political parties simultaneously because I don't fucking trust you goddamn whores. You fucking prostitutes. And the Department of Health and Human Services is already calling me a pimp. So I must be a pimp. So if I'm a pimp and the state assumed that I was a pimp without ever asking me, let's roll with that fucking assumption, shall we? Your silence makes you whores and prostitutes. Isn't that fucking amazing? And they all say they do things for the children. But we know in reality, the only one doing anything for the children is this guy right here. Isn't that fucking amazing? I'm doing this for the children. Isn't this great? Say no for the children. Man, such strange times we're in. Oh shit. I can get a Boba Fett. Oh, it's a pair of them. No. Start. I'm building a wall of Funko out of Star. For my showroom. I'm building a wall of Funko Pops. People love it. They come in this big wall of Funko Pops. You see, this shit's so goddamn. Can't really sell it, can you? You know what I mean? Oh, where are you gonna go with this? Therapy? Right? You guys concerned by this at all? Alarmed? 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 You guys concerned by this at all? Is this anything to be alarmed by? Should we have a group therapy session in regards to these things, or should I just let it go under the rug and say nothing about it? What's your feelings? Do you think we're on to something here? Excuse me, neighbors. I went home.
Recently, in response to what was perceived as the dubious content of an official briefing given by State Department spokesman Ned Price, Matt Lee of the Associated Press said, "This is like crisis actors, really.
This is like Alex Jones territory you're getting into now." From there, the exchanges between Lee and Price proceeded to degenerate into what can only be described as comic hilarity.
What Price wouldn't dare tell or admit to either Matt Lee or to the American general public, on pain of immediate dismissal from his cushy job and career-ending public disgrace, is that the execution of such psychological operations, postmodern reality simulation aka false flags or hoaxes, as they relate to establishing a reason to prosecute a war, is nothing new in the annals of American history.
Matt, to your question, is an action that Russia has already taken.
It's an action that you say that they have taken, but you have shown no evidence to confirm that. And I'm going to get to the next question here, which is, what is the evidence that they play? I mean, this is like crisis actors, really. This is like Alex Jones territory you're getting into now. What evidence do you have to support the idea that there is some propaganda film in the making?
Matt, this is derived from information known to the U.S. government, intelligence information that we have declassified. I think you know.
Okay, well, where is it? Where is this information?
It is intelligence information that we have declassified.
Well, where is it? Where's the declassified information?
I just delivered it.
No, you made a series of allegations and statements.
Would you like us to print out the topper? Because you will see a transcript of this briefing that you can print out for yourself.
That's not evidence, Ned. That's you saying it. That's not evidence. I'm sorry.
Truth is, the sinking of the Maine in 1898 to begin the Spanish-American War, the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand which caused U.S. military intervention overseas in World War I, the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941 which precipitated the U.S.'s involvement in World War II, the Gulf of Tonkin incident in 1965 which escalated U.S. military incursions in Southeast Asia, and the controlled demolition of New York's Twin World Trade Centers and Building No. 7 on September 11, 2001 which led to the U.S. invasions of both Iraq and Afghanistan.
To name but just a few instances, all were deliberately staged psychological operations which were utilized as justifications for war. In addition to the fact State Department spokesman Ned Price was trained at Georgetown University, a Jesuit-founded military fortress, according to his official biography published at Wikipedia, Price has also worked at the CIA, yet another Jesuit-controlled arm of the international intelligence octopus. In essence, Price is merely the latest in a long line of Jesuit-trained prevaricators and spin masters employed by the U.S. corporate government in service to the interests of the Jesuit Superior General at the Vatican. Here's something else Ned Price is sure to never relate to the American public either. Russian Premier Vladimir Putin is a fabricated character scheme portrayed by an award-winning Hollywood actor.
I think we should say that those nominated for the best performance by an actor are
Marlon Brando in The Godfather,
Michael Caine in Sleuth,
Laurence Olivier in Sleuth,
Peter O'Toole in the ruling class,
Paul Winfield in Sounder. The winner is
The purpose of U.S. government psychological operations.
Though to a majority of the American public, most of whom have yet to become initiated into entertaining such ideas, the very notion of false flags, aka psychological operations, postmodern reality simulation, mentioned during an official government briefing given by a State Department spokesman may seem conceptually radical or even absurd. Nevertheless, when considered in the grander context of geopolitics on the world stage, their predominance as a traditionally effective instrument of American foreign policy is not such an incredible or novel idea.
But to what end does the staging of psychological operations ultimately serve?
The U.S. corporate government, presented through varied formats beginning in the early 20th century such as newspapers, magazines, radio, and television, has harnessed the authoritative and influential power of the MSM and the Internet, aka Jesuitical Ratio Studiorum, to execute psychological operations, to the effect of thoroughly manipulating and to even ultimately controlling public perception and consensus opinion which, within the last decade particularly, has quickly manifested into a virtual collective hive mind. Those working at the highest levels of the U.S. corporate government have always known, when the public can be steered towards supporting a war overseas against a perceived enemy, enemies which have always existed only as tools of government propaganda. Osama bin Laden aka Barack Obama, Jerry Seinfeld, existing as a prime example. They are acting in the interests of the international bankers of the Crown Temple in the City of London who own the U.S. corporation, with the intent of influencing the thoughts and behaviors, hearts and minds, of its citizens.
Behaviors which will subsequently, unwittingly but perpetually drown them in financial debt. Having strategically used the concept of war to create a new order out of a state of chaos and while causing the people to desire security and safety from perceived enemies at the expense of personal liberties, government officials can always much more easily exert control over citizens, totalitarian control which they never hope to renounce or to ever relinquish.
Since the era of the 1930s, with the passage of UCC 2107, the War Powers Act, the U.S. corporation has been officially bankrupt, meaning, each human resource person or corporation has been bonded as collateral against the debt owed to the Federal Reserve, a private subsidiary of the Crown Temple aka 1 Square Mile in the City of London which, in turn, is connected to the Vatican Bank aka Holy See and to the SNB Swiss National Bank. With the current rate of U.S. monetary inflation already mounting to unprecedented levels, the Crown Temple bankers remain all too well aware, in tandem with the political and financial chaos generated by the convoy protests taking place in Canada, staging a war between the US and Russia will effectively accelerate the financial decline of the West and relegate America to essentially permanent third world status.
Despite, for now, human resources have managed to retain their free will over how their commercial behaviors are directed, very soon, unless they collectively choose to withdraw their legal consent, this comfortable reality to which they've become accustomed will inevitably grind.
Soon, within less than a decade, blockchain cryptocurrency, brain survey financial system based on body activity, human resources will find themselves no longer able over how they choose to spend their finances.
To paraphrase the words of WEF chairman Klaus Schwab, aka King Harald V of Norway, everyone will own nothing while made to believe they are still happy, or else. How did this grim reality come to fruition? The answer, the Jesuits' Ratio Studiorum, aka the MS Internet, and a phenomenon called sentient world simulation, aka postmodern reality simulation. Sentient world simulation. According to an article published at emerge.com, sentient world simulation is a program based out of Purdue University's Synthetic Environment for Analysis and Simulation Laboratory. Reportedly, SWS is a governmental unit of the NSA, National Security Agency, which gathers boundless amounts of information on Americans under the guise of fighting crime, by predicting criminal behavior before it is committed and to predict behavioral responses to propaganda and government-inflicted terror. The article at emerge.com goes on to detail, SWS relies on keeping tabs on citizens and gathering data by tracking phone calls, credit card receipts, social networks, GPS tracks, internet searches, Amazon purchases and EZ Pass records. The program SWS reports emerge.com has amassed databases so profound they can now look so deep into a person's life they can predict their thoughts and future actions with relative certainty. The creation of AI-based programs such as SWS enables the MSM to accurately predict how a targeted population demographic is likely to react to the ongoing narrative of any particular news story, even before it is released for public consumption. In truth, as the article at emerge.com more than implies, similar AI systems, like those AI projects at Microsoft, for example, have been influencing the social and political behaviors of American society for longer than most would like to admit. Now, in the 21st century, and with the Obama administration's repeal of the Smith-Mundt Act, the role of AI systems in shaping the narratives of propaganda, psychological operations which are targeted at segments of the American population has grown to become quite standard. But what the article at emerge.com fails to report is that strict and routine applications of postmodern reality simulation, aka psychological operations, using AI programs such as the NSA's SWS are merely a modern-day manifestation of the Jesuit order's Ratio Studiorum, a fact State Department spokesman Ned Price, given he was trained at Jesuit-founded Georgetown University, would certainly well understand. According to Wikipedia, the Ratio ATQ Institutio Studiorum Societatis Jesu, the official plan for Jesuit education, often abbreviated as Ratio Studiorum, Latin, Plan of Studies, was a document that standardized the globally influential system of Jesuit education in 1599. It was a collection of regulations for school officials and teachers. Wikipedia goes on to add, the work was the product of many hands and wide experience, but it most directly derives from the efforts of an international team of academics of the Collegio Romano, the Jesuit school in Rome. Today, over 5 centuries later, the Jesuits' Ratio Studiorum has manifested into what has become more familiarly known as the Internet. In combination with the MSM and the ubiquity of digital social media platforms, the Society of Jesus is able to continually operate a full-spectrum dominance of triangular psychological warfare from their headquarters at the Vatican in Rome. With complete control over intelligence gathering, mass surveillance-oriented organizations such as CIA and NSA, with control over digital social media platforms and related social media influences through their hegemony over Silicon Valley, which is closely tied to Jesuit-founded Santa Clara University, as witnessed by the public's virtually uniform fearful reactions to COVID-19 pandemic propaganda. Over the last 2 years, the Ignatian Society of Jesus and its Superior General has been able to significantly widen the scope of their Ratio Studiorum into a system of triangular psychological warfare, consisting of the Internet, social media platforms, and the MSM, to bind an emotionally vulnerable and psychologically infantilized American public together into a virtual collective hive mind, one which is rendered reliant upon the US corporate government for not only crisis solutions, but for its financial sustenance and for its personal safety and security.
The holiday photo call. Every leader does one. No one else does them shirt off, fish in hand. Welcome to Vladimir Putin's summer break in Siberia. These state pictures designed to boost the president's popularity, the strongman image central to his sky-high ratings among Russian people. He found time for open water swimming in the freezing mountain lake, driving machines at speed, and spearfishing. A Kremlin spokesman quoted as saying, the president chased a particular pike for 2 hours before, of course, snaring it.
Vladimir Putin exists only on TV. For decades, US government propaganda has sold the idea to the American public that the US and Russia have existed as mortal enemies. In truth, both the US and Russia are merely corporate subsidiaries of a global corporation controlled by the Crown Temple in the City of London and the Vatican in Rome, which, in turn, is controlled by the military order of the Society of Jesus and its Superior General. Meanwhile, however, here's something else even more dramatic that the Jesuit-trained State Department spokesman Ned Price will certainly never dare reveal to either the AP's Matt Lee or to the American general public. Ear biometric, facial recognition, and extensive image comparison analyses confirms the current Russian premier, Vladimir Putin, is a fabricated character scheme portrayed by Hollywood actor Marlon Brando. Before being modified into Vladimir Putin earlier, during his career in Hollywood, Marlon Brando was modified into Hollywood actor Burt Reynolds. The fabricated character scheme known as Burt Reynolds, aka Marlon Brando, has also been modified, with generous latex stippling strategically applied to portions of the facial geometry to better conceal the identity of the host actor, live-action role player, into the popular television talk show host known as Dr. Phil McGraw. Turns out, further and extensive ear biometric, facial recognition, and image comparison analyses confirms Marlon Brando is hiding an even darker family secret. A close family relation of Brando's Hollywood actor Rod Steiger has been identified as the live-action role player who portrayed the fabricated character scheme known to world history as former Russian leader Mikhail Gorbachev.
Tom Brady is trying to track down our Hertz customer.
Looks like I just missed her. She's a Hertz Gold Plus Rewards member, so no waiting in line at the counter for her.
That means she's able to pick any car she wants.
Skip the line and get right to your destination. That's why you go with Hertz.
Running your business is your job. Keeping it safe is ours. Spectrum Business.
Everyone says, well, you should be harmless, virtuous. You shouldn't do anyone any harm. You should sheath your competitive instinct. You shouldn't try to win. You
Right? Man, that's mind blowing. We're gonna go with that. I don't know yet.